What's up, everybody? Happy
Hey,
Sunday,
everyone.
and welcome into the first annual 2022 Indies Awards nomination show,
Yeah, we did a thing.
which some of you guys have already found the link and voted. There are a lot of responses already, but we're going to talk
Cheaters.
about why we nominated them today.
And
hello.
if you haven't seen the link yet and you haven't already peeped the nominations, welcome. And this is your first time seeing them, so hello.
Yes.
Enjoy.
So those that haven't found it, the link is in the description right now and will be dropped in the chat soon when I find the copy button. Sorry about the delay in starting. I was having major technical difficulties for a while.
And I forgot you're supposed to turn your sound on your computer when you're watching videos or chatting.
We are good to go now.
Listen, so it's the weekend. I don't take meds.
Yeah, it's the weekend. We're having fun. We're going to talk about comics that we love. So it's all good. It's all good. So I am going to switch us over to our little thing here.
Ooh.
Let's see. There we go.
Ooh.
Fancy. Wanted to do this with a little presentation talking about all of the selected things, how we got there, all of the fun details behind this. So let's kick it off with our first category, which is going to be the publishers, best publishers. We got two categories based on kind of output of comics that they are.
Because there's some really small guys, and then there's some big boys.
Yeah, and then there's some that you think are small that actually are putting out quite a lot of comics, and so they're up head to head with some of the bigger ones. Of course, this is the Indies Awards, so we're talking about indie comics.
Listen, we all know I would give Dark Knights of Steel everything in the world if I could, but it is not indie, sadly, so here we are.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff over at the big two, but we'd like to talk about the books that may not
over everywhere else.
Yeah, there's so many books that don't get the recognition. There's a lot of award shows that YouTube shows are doing, and the indie books don't get the highlight as much. So here we go. So first category is the best publishers 2022 that put out 6 or more books a month on average. And here are our nominations. We've got Boom Studios, Image Comics, Scout Comics, Dark Horse Comics, and Vault Comics.
Which I feel like Vault and Scout are the sneaky ones.
Yeah, I mean, we know Image puts out so many great books from well-known names. Boom Studios, same thing. I mean, the things that got me into indie.
You're not reading Something That's Killing the Children at this point in society. It's like not watching Game of Thrones to the comic book community. It's like, what? How are you? How did you? What?
Right.
What?
And
why?
It's one of those that I will always tell people to go check out if they like the spooky stuff, like monsters. Go read it. But so many good things, and we'll be highlighting those Boom books over in the Boom top Boom books of 2022. Yeah.
And then Vault is one of those things that I just read almost anything and everything I can from them. If there's an issue 1 that comes out and it's a Vault book, I'm like, you get a try, and you get a try.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a try.
I will always try a Vault book. There's a couple that I end up not liking as much as the others, but for the most part, I love everything.
And they usually are really well paced out too. You're not sad you're getting just one arc.
Yeah. And Scout Comics, every time I open up the catalog and I see Scout, I'm like, how are you guys putting out so many books every month? I feel
like they were so small like last year, and they just ramped it up this past year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Phil's in the chat saying, Vault and Scout are very worth checking out in previews every month. Yeah.
Literally just got an email from Scout for their weekly previews. Nice. The timing on that could not have been better.
They're like, hey, we know you're talking about us.
Like, hey, we hear it. We know.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I feel like Dark Horse might be the dark horse of this sneaking in there. We were talking about it. I always forget what they put out, but then I realized,
I'm franchise, and I forget that.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff that, of course, we've got, like Hellboy comes out over there.
But the whole universe, too.
They've got that deal with Comixology for a lot of those books. And there's some good stuff coming from them. What was that?
Dark Horse? Is Quick Stops Dark Horse?
Quick Stops is
Like-
Dark Horse.
That's one that everyone's been loving at my shop.
Is that the Kevin Smith one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then there's like God, I just had it in my head the ones that Brian Michael Bendis is doing
Yep.
with them. Black Hammer was a big staple at Dark Horse for a while. Yeah.
Mhm.
Matt Kint's doing a
Universe
lot
finally
with them.
finished.
There's some very well-known indie creators that take their work to Dark
I mean,
Horse.
almost everything Mignola does comes out of Dark Horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, side note, all of the Avatar universe comes out of Dark Horse. The
Yeah.
Last Airbender, not James Cameron.
Although both, I think, actually come from Dark Horse.
Both do, but only one matters.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Scout Comics, lots of cool stuff coming out from them. I mean, we'll see something. But I bought like one of my first original art like cover pieces I ever bought was a Scout comic book.
Almost a minor bias going on.
And you know, one of our favorites that we talk about all the time. We'll talk about later, but you know, Scout Comics has some great creators over there.
Mhm.
So these are the nominees for Best Publisher of the Year 2022 for the kind of more high volume publishers. Scout also,
Like half Marvel, half DC levels.
yeah, I mean, yeah, about half probably the output of those. Vault may be the smallest of the ones that we've got up here in terms of volume, but I think they make up for that with quality.
Mhm.
So let's head to the next category, which is Best Indie Publishers of the Year, less than 6 books per month.
Yeah.
And the nominees are Sumerian Comics, AWA, SourcePoint Press, Mad Cave Studios, and A Wave Blue World. Which I think is funny. I have that in the same spot as the Vault because I think they are also the lowest.
Smallest. And they're the
output.
only white one as well. All the others have a black background, and then you have their white and blue backgrounds.
Right. What's up, Soul Twice?
Hey, welcome.
Long time. So again, with these are publishers that we've just really enjoyed for one reason or another. A Wave Blue World was a new one to me this year, but I have started buying a lot of their like
the older stuff,
back issues.
Sumerian, formerly Behemoth.
Yeah, that's another thing. In case you missed it, Sumerian is Behemoth. I had a question recently from someone that they thought Sumerian was an imprint of Behemoth.
Nope.
But Sumerian
Just a name
is
change.
Behemoth. Sumerian Records bought Behemoth, and they changed the name. So
Not Sumerian Comics. Or publishing? Is it comics or publishing? I don't remember.
Comics. Yeah.
I thought so.
So if you're a fan of Behemoth, that is Sumerian. So in the ballot, remember, same thing.
Mhm.
AWA puts out, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 books a month. Pretty quality books, though. A lot of their stuff has been around the Resistance universe, but I think recently they've been doing more outside of that as well.
Yeah, trying to expand beyond.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. A Wave Blue World has actually been around since like before 2010. It blows my mind. I learned that a couple weeks ago, and yeah.
Silent, but just vibing, just producing good shit.
Putting out
staying in their own little corner of the world, but now they're finally like, hey.
Taking books from other publishers that didn't want to pay creators and putting them out and paying their creators. Say that. No shots fired at any publishers ever.
Their books are coming out, so hopefully they're going to pay their creators.
It wasn't even a shot at that publisher. It was another. This is the first one that decided to act up. Still isn't paying. But yeah, hopefully Aftershock does start paying their creators since the books have started.
Big is finally finishing.
Yeah, Sumerian does still have some pretty cool merch on their website. Some pretty metal rockin' kind of stuff.
And they're doing more too with the like trying to do music incorporated comics and whatnot. So
yeah,
I think we'll see a lot more crossover stuff like merch wise from them soon.
Oh yeah, and I think we've got some music based comics coming very soon from them.
I mean, Heavy Metal Drummer.
And that wasn't even, no, I mean like associated with a band even.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yeah. But heavy metal drummer, yeah. No, that was awesome.
That was fucking great. The art on that is obscene.
Oh yeah. No,
in all of the ways that word can be used.
Anytime that writing and art team comes back together, I'm like, pull list now.
Did you read Firstborns?
Yes. I'm enjoying that.
Wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's whole baby.
Only one issue out, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a short book. Okay.
But the next issue's got to be coming soon.
Mm-hmm. I think it's beginning of February.
Okay. Can't wait. So talk about Sumerian a little bit. You know, we got on this Behemoth train back in. That was one of our first interviews. Was with Nathan from Behemoth. Actually, it was our very first interview. So I always read books from them.
Love them. It's always, you're gonna get like not the most, but like you're gonna get really incredibly unique. Like,
yeah,
I would have never thought of this, and I would have never expected this, but goddamn, does this work?
Yeah, and then like even genres, I'm like, I don't know if this would be something I'd read, and then I'd love Sarah Lone. Absolutely love it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Source Point Press.
Stuff that's obscure as hell.
Right?
Good.
I like this. Keep it up.
How dare they?
Source Point Press puts out a wide variety of books. They may actually be like at that 6 books. They might be over it. I think
some months they're really high, but then others it's like 2.
Right. So, I mean, kind of anything by Garrett Gunn, you're going to find over at Source Point Press. So if you're into his stuff, Good Boy, what was the new stuff? Little Red Ronin, a whole bunch of interesting things.
I love Good Boy.
And building up a new horror universe, the Curse of Cleaver County they got coming now.
Okay.
And then Night Stalker's coming soon from like Colin Bunn. Like, yeah, so they've got some cool stuff going on over there. I haven't ever gotten anything from Indiegogo comic-wise. Often.
This is new to me. I don't know what Indiegogo is, but that sounds interesting.
Often Indiegogo books tend to be Comicsgate people, and I'm not about that life, so.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Kickstarter tends to be more the...
Is Indiegogo just another version of Kickstarter?
Essentially, it's got some different rules, but I've also seen a lot of stuff where creators have, for no reason at all, Indiegogo has just said, your campaign is canceled. Even though they funded, they paid like the printer and everything, and then the campaign...
And they were like, no, just kidding.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Yeah. So there's reasons I've seen creators stay away from Indiegogo. On average, Source Point Press is below 6.
I feel like they're usually right around 4 a month, and then as they're starting and finishing new series, it kind of like blends into 6 every now and then.
Yeah, they got some overlap.
You're like, okay, you're gonna end in this month, but then you're starting a new one at the same time.
They tend to do a lot of one-shots also. So like Jonathan Hedrick had 2 one-shots come out from them this last year, and then I think we've got one. We have a guest that'll be coming on in 2 weeks. I don't remember the exact date. 2-3 weeks. For Ether is the one shot.
Yeah, I thought it was a graphic novel.
It's a one shot. Okay. It's probably like a big issue, I think. But yeah, so they have a record of doing those one shot type deals there. So kind of keeps the numbers up a little bit, but series wise, we're looking at probably 6 or so. And then Mad Cave, I feel like I just read everything that comes out from them. We've read the one we've recently talked about on the channel, Joe Corallo's book, Dahlia in the Dark.
Yeah.
Over there right now. Nature's Labyrinth from Zach.
Was that one good? I wanted to start it, but I missed out on it. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to regret this.
You definitely need to read it. It's probably one of the, like, in the last 6 months, I'd say it's one of my favorites that they've
Every time I see it on previews, because I didn't get the first one, I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to really like this. I should have read it. Yeah. Yeah. OGN, straight to trade. Yeah.
which I think sometimes is good. Sometimes, depending on like how people are reading at the time, can be harder for sales. But I know there's a lot of actually Sumerian re-putting out the Purple Oblivion. It was one of their original like graphic novels that they put out.
First ones they did.
Yeah, now putting it out as single issues, and I think it's selling better now.
Because I also too think that a lot of people enjoy let me try the first chapter, see if I like it, and then if I don't like it, I've only committed $5 to this versus $15 to $20 on a graphic novel.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then speaking of that kind of style, Scout Comics does the like non-stop title where they'll put the one issue out and then you can go pick up the trade.
Yep.
Which, honestly, I kind of am moving towards that in my collecting and reading.
Yeah, if I really like something, I keep it going. But if I'm meh about it, I will probably wait for the trade.
Yeah. So let's head into our first section of publishers and top comics in them. And so these are not just like we picked randomly, like this publisher, we're going to highlight their top books. This unfortunately decided to be really mathematical about it and took
Jeremy put in the work and I just showed up for this.
I took from my top list every week, took the top 5 comics, put weights, 5 points for number 1 spot, 4 points for number 2, etc., and got a list of the top 5 publishers from that list. And so these are the ones that we're going to look at their top books for the year. So should be no surprise that one of the ones that would come up a lot is Image Comics. There's so many good books from there, and there's a lot
wide range of
genre.
I just forgot the word for genre.
I got you.
Wide array of genres that they published as well. Like Nocterra is a fabulous horror comic. Rain made me feel all of the things while killing everyone.
Yeah. Oh my god. And that's, I feel like it's a different kind of horror. Like
emotional trauma.
Yeah. Saga, beautiful. Literally saga. Beautiful.
Finally back.
8 billion back. Oh yeah. That's not next week, the week after.
Yep. End of the month. We're almost there.
Almost back.
Yes. Well,
Supermassive.
Yeah.
Verse. But
the Radiant Black verse.
Yeah. Which honestly,
but they're all standalone as well.
Right. So I do love that. And honestly, I love all of those books, but I feel like when we were going through this, we wanted to highlight more non-superhero-y things, I guess, came out. But the Massive Verse is fun if you're looking for a different take on superheroes.
If you want not Marvel or DC, but still in the vibes.
Yeah.
I felt like if Power Rangers met Tron.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, that's a good comparison. And I mean, all of the creators, like pretty much all of the creators on anything Massiveverse have worked on Power Rangers at some point.
There's Power Rangers meets Tron. I'm not wrong, and I'm not insulting either of them. All of those are great and wonderful sci-fi universes.
Right.
Took the best parts and smashed them together and went, here you go. Have this. It's yours. Right.
Yeah, Rain, I love it. Zoe Thorogood's art, fantastic in it. But David M. Booher doing the kind of the adaptation of Joe Hill's work was fantastic.
Yeah, that was such a good series. I feel like it was really underrated until like the 3rd issue came out and everyone was like, wait, what is this? And I was like, trauma and wonderfulness at the same time. It's incredibly terrifying and wonderfully wholesome.
Back when it was coming out, I had actually, funny enough, I had the posters for Rain 1 and Saga 55 from my comic shop up on the wall at one point. So
I saved those from work and I put them up on my wall.
I need a new place to put them because these walls are full. Maybe the ceiling. Oh,
well, so that's I have a little slanty ceiling. That's not a wall, but it's a ceiling. So I put them up there.
Yeah, a little bit of a
because I can't really put pictures up there.
Yeah, but yeah. So 8 Billion Genies. Everyone knows about 8 Billion Genies. It took off. It was Image said no second prints, no third prints, none of that, and then 8
And
billion.
it's on what,
And they said, just kidding.
5th to 8th printing or something like that at this point for the first issue.
If you count the local comic shop day blank,
Mhm.
probably.
It's obscene. I love it.
But it's so good. And if you haven't read from that team before, Curse Words is another one that they did.
Mhm.
I've started reading it. I haven't finished it, but it's fantastic.
They did an homage with the first one. It was one of the ratios, I think.
Yeah. You're right. And then Lovesick. This was one that you have been reading.
Yeah, it's like I did not expect to like it as much as I did, but it's good.
Good stuff. It's wild.
Don't read it if you're sensitive, men. And I mean like keyboard sensitive, not emotionally sensitive.
And then New Masters was pretty
so
beautiful
good.
tale. Yeah. And it sounds like there's gonna be more of it.
It felt like it was being ended with promise of continuation.
The back matter on the last issue was like,
Mhm.
yep, we're gonna get more. Okay.
You're
But
like,
yeah,
you can't just leave this here.
right. It's
You gotta give me more, please.
The creative team is I think they're brothers, Shobo and Shof Coker.
Mhm.
Which is fantastic. I love that like dynamic creating together. And it was
I read it when it first came out because the main character gives me like light Riri vibes.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll give this a chance. You got a metal arm. You're probably really smart. It's debatably smart.
Gets herself into bad situations, but smart enough to get herself out.
Yeah. Can engineer her way through.
Yeah. She's fantastic characters in that. Loved it. And Shobo Coker was writing Buckhead over at Boom at the same time, and so they were like,
oh yeah.
So I was like a new creator that I was like, yep, I like your work. I love this.
Give you a
I love these like Afro-inspired stories, pulling in like the culture and history and myths and things. I was like, fantastic.
POC stories created by POC people.
Yes.
Hey, it's amazing.
And we already talked a little bit about Noctera, but we both love pretty much most things.
Anything, everything.
Out.
Or anything that man writes.
Noctera especially was the one that we all like just,
I need it translated. I would also love a video game of this universe. I want an open world video game of this universe.
Ooh.
I would
be fun.
I would spend money on that.
That would be so
never gonna happen, but Scott Snyder, please.
I mean, there's already deals or like deals.
It's been optioned, yeah.
Come a show or movie, I don't remember which. But if that happens, you never know. There could become a video game for it.
I want to run around as Val murdering shades.
Oh my god, yes. Or you get to create your own, like design your own.
You make your own rig. You gotta get all the lights on it.
Yes, this could be fun.
I just like the creativity behind this world is outrageously expansive, and I love it.
Yeah,
because you hardly go anywhere, but you're like, damn, this world is so fully fleshed out. It's so tangible and it's so real, and I both love and hate it.
Oh yeah, and it seems like it's just gonna be ongoing for a long time.
They did the one shot that was Val, and then they've got another arc coming out soon.
Yeah. Talked a little bit about Rain already, but beautiful story, full of trauma.
Crystal Physical Rain.
Yeah. Saga, a beautiful story about trauma. Saga, I feel like if you haven't checked out at this point, you need to.
What are you doing?
Run to your shop. Grab that 54-issue omnibus for $60 and spend the next week reading it.
Next time you get COVID, you gotta stay home from work. Read Saga.
But please be safe and don't get COVID.
Pick it up before then. Read it for that.
Right. So that's our Image picks for nominees. Love to hear you guys' thoughts in the chat. If there were other ones that you really loved from Image this year, let us know. Or if you're watching this later, drop that in the comments.
Yeah.
And we will move on to the second one, which probably also won't be a surprise based on output. It's Boom Studios.
Ooh.
next time you get COVID. It is kind
Welcome to
of,
the real world.
honestly, in the world where it is right now, it is probably a guarantee.
Yep.
That there will be a next time.
It's just gonna be the flu. That's kind of the listen. The flu was COVID, like in the 1700s. Well, not in the 1700s, but like whenever the flu happened, the Spanish flu.
Yeah. So our nominees for Boom Studios are Behold, Behemoth, Briar, Grimm, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Something is Killing the Children, of course, and Wind, Thrown in the Sky, the third arc of Wind.
The best book that's ever been created ever. I'll be taking
And
no other opinions.
we may
This
have
isn't
some
very-
biases on this list, but don't let us influence you. Vote. For
Let
your
me
favorite.
influence you. Read Wind.
I mean, read it, but don't let us influence you in the voting because we want the votes to be from the community. We're gonna put our own votes in too. I haven't done that yet, but we want your votes in there as well. And there are.
Here's what I found.
Every time.
Thank
Siri
you,
was-
man.
Siri was looking where could she vote, and she found it.
Well, hey, you know, I'm okay with her listening into that one, honestly.
Siri, tell the people. Tell the people where to vote.
Tell them what to. Well, don't tell them what to do, but tell them where to go.
Yeah. So, Behold Behemoth, Tate Bromble, Nick Robles putting out an insanely incredible story. The artwork is so beautiful. And, oh, God, story.
I really like parallel timeline stories, I think. Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of things I'm reading that are like flashing back and forth between like current time and like the history of the development of the story. And I'm like, I like this.
But it's also the fact that you can tell when it's switching back and forth.
Instead of having to guess like The Witcher.
Right. There are some things where you can't tell, and that is frustrating. The Witcher season 3, 2.
All of it, the first
Whatever.
one.
First season, I didn't feel like it was hard to tell. Second
I didn't
one,
clock
yeah.
it until I realized Jeskier wasn't showing up in some things, and I was like, he's a human. Oh, timeline, baby.
Briar, coming from Christopher Cantwell, Jermaine Garcia. Dark take on
Sleeping
Sleeping
Beauty.
Beauty. I don't know why I forgot.
What if the prince just never woke her up and he decided to run the kingdom himself? And then everyone died, and it's 1,000 years later, and you are a myth.
Yeah.
But you live now, baby.
But you alive and some crazy.
You
shit
done
is
been
going
undeaded.
Oh yeah. Grimm, I think, was the breakout of the year from Boom. People compared it to Something's Killing Children. I don't know if I'd go quite that far,
Yeah,
but
it's
definitely
not.
feel it. I don't feel like it's going to be as expansive of a world.
Well, and
that
it doesn't
Something's
feel
Killing
quite
Children could
so
be.
horror. Like Something is Killing the Children
Yeah.
is about monsters killing the children.
Right.
Grimm is about a Grim Reaper finding her place in the world.
Yeah. It's Stephanie Phillips writing. If you haven't read anything by her, please do. Nuclear Family, her Harley Quinn run. Please go pick it up. Grimm, especially though. And then if you haven't seen Flaviano's art with Rico Renzi's colors, it's beautiful.
So good. Oh, it's
so good.
unfair. The colors was what made me start reading the book, and then the writing was like, yep,
Yeah,
validation.
like colorist. If you want a real good colorist, look at Rico Renzi's work. Fantastic. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, we just got the second issue a couple weeks ago.
And I did not expect to like this book as much as I did, and I'm like, thank you. Another, please. Can I have some more? Let's keep going.
And this was
Jason Franny on the art on the variant covers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the variants. Yeah.
It's the one book that's getting me on those.
Jason Aaron has been kind of at Marvel for a little while, focused on Marvel projects, and to see some of his indie stuff out here now, I'm happy. And this is a 3 arc story that they're doing here, where there's going to be different artists on each arc, which I'm assuming
3
is probably
5-issue arcs as well.
Yeah, because I made the mistake of thinking it was 3 issues. My bad. But it's gonna be like probably different timelines each arc. I'd assume.
Either that or maybe perspectives.
That could be. Yeah.
Other people in the world at the same time. Falling in love.
So far, it's a beautiful story about the apocalypse. So I love it.
Potential deadliness.
Yes. Oh yeah. So with those, we've got Something's Killing the Children next. The newest arc coming out, in this last year. I think the last arc ended this last year too.
Mm-hmm. The most recent issue for the newest arc. I don't remember now. I think we're on like 28 just came out this month, like last week.
Yeah. So we've had a pretty solid start to this arc in this, some tragic stuff happening, some wild new monsters coming from this,
and the equivalent human monsters being just as fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah. What I was concerned longevity wise with Something That's Killing the Children would just be these same monsters over and over and over in like a new place. And James Tynion and Werther Dell'Edera said no.
Nope. They're like, we got you, son.
We already have
monsters. You want more scary monsters? You wanna have a terrifying human monster?
You want to explore all of the houses, and I'm assuming with House of Slaughter, we're probably gonna go some crazy places too. We're coming back.
Aaron's story is next.
Jace.
Well, no. Oh yeah, Butcher. You're right.
Aaron
already died. Aaron already had his story.
Yeah, but doesn't know that. So that's, I think, what this arc will explore. So yeah, we've got some love for Something's Killing the Children.
It's everyone's favorite. Yeah, you gotta have it, and it's everyone's favorite for a reason.
Oh yeah, it's quality.
I hope we get like Walking Dead level of like amount of book and context and universe and world building and just expansion.
Between probably all the spin-offs that he's probably gonna do besides House of Slaughter, we probably will hit the same number of issues.
I need it.
We're already at like 30. Would be 28 plus 10. Would be 38, 39 with the Book of Slaughter. We're almost to 40.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I want to see
Black Box Comics.
Hey.
Shout out. I think they already know, but one of their books is coming up in the best of other publishers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wind is last, but save the best for last, if you ask me personally. It's my favorite book. It's always my favorite book. It will forever be my favorite book.
And it's the James Tynion book that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough.
No. It's because I feel like it's published as all ages, but like all ages doesn't mean for children. It means for all ages. It means adults should enjoy this stuff too, right? Because there is important moral lessons to the story, not just violent conflict. There is also violent conflict.
Oh yeah. And that's where I feel like it loses its ability to be for kids.
Yeah, I'm like, I have to tell people, I'm like, it's like vampires with a Y, and if you like, it's not gonna be like vampires, it's like vampires,
Right. Oh yeah. And the artwork, Michael's artwork in there is phenomenal.
I just want it straight lined into my veins.
I'm so happy we got to talk with him and nerd out for like an hour of that interview, not just talking about his art, but just nerding out. So much.
You, our fellow nerd. Hello, nerd.
I was messaging him on Instagram recently about Pokemon Go. So, great creator, great artist, and he will probably soon be working on something that he is creating on his own. So I can't wait to see what he does.
Can't wait to harass him about how good it is.
And then after that, there will be a fourth arc of Wind that I can't wait for. It's a little while away, probably, but
given the amount of things Tynion is writing, yeah,
we will reread Wind
forever. I'm determined to sell them out publisher levels. It'll happen. Word of mouth by me alone.
So after Boom, I don't think this should be a surprise to people if you've watched this channel at all, that Sumerian is the next one on here. And some crazy books.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah. Dark Beach, just that one caught me by surprise. Story about, it's a cool sci-fi story, I feel like. Looking at the world if it was no longer by the sun. Whether that means the sun died or the Earth moved.
Oh yeah, because they're living in those little that little capsule community.
Yeah, and so they're like,
I don't know what to call it. It's like a dome.
It's a dome, artificial sunlight dome world, and essentially we've got like a little bit of a murder mystery going on and some conspiracies behind what happened to the world.
Where's the dome?
Fantastic. Michael Ruiz Unger is the writer, and then Sebastian Perez, whose art I love everything it's on.
Acceptable.
That's our creative team here. Damian Connolly's Follow Me Into the Darkness.
Follow up to You Promised Me Darkness.
The one that inspired our name, You Promised Me Comics. So come on, it's got to be on our list. We love it. We love the world. He's thinking about the third arc. I feel like he's been posting like, do you guys want it? So,
teasers.
But he's
all the teasers.
Yeah, he's doing a lot more of just writing coming up though. He's working with a lot of different artists. Yeah, because he's trying to do different genres, and his art is more of like the horror genre.
Yeah, I get that.
He's like, I need different takes. I know
I need someone who can draw sunlight.
Right. Like the artist from this is working with him on something. They've posted a little bit in the stories. Can't wait to see that. Heavy Metal Drummer. We mentioned it already.
Just an obscene story.
Probably one of the stories I think reached the most amount of people in terms of popularity. It's just so like you feel like you're having a trip, like the entire story.
Someone was.
We won't say which of the creative team, probably all of them.
Honestly, is there any other way to make something like that? It's too good to be
right
made by a normal man.
And and then Geek Collective.
I didn't realize Illusion Witch was coming out from Sumerian.
Yeah,
I just picked it up. I was like, I like this. I vibe with this.
Yeah, cool. I mean, honestly, any like fantasy stories that are out there, I'm like, I need it. Give me fantasy. We got cool magic, a villain that's insane looking, and got lots of cool evil plots going on, and a talking little animal.
Yeah, you always gotta have your
companion.
Your little speaky familiar.
Yeah, familiar. That's the word. Cole.
Yes.
Congrats.
You are the only Cole I know, therefore you are the best Cole I know.
I got a little award for you. It's a little Lego award. Neverender. I love this sci-fi story. In just a story that's just kind of if you take it out of the sci-fi, it's just like a fighting story, but it's a world that's like got lots of weird things happening on the like actual like Terran planet, and this guy accidentally gets himself shot into space.
Just as one casually does.
Yeah, well, you know, they found this little probe thing, and they like were working on it, and then there was this battle happening between like the robots and people on the streets, like the ad robots. Which I get it. I would be mad if all these ad robots kept running up to me too.
Yeah, I would probably smash a few phones.
But he ends up in space, ends up part of the dueling league to kind of survive and exist. And he was a brawler on Earth or Terra.
Convenient for him.
You know, yeah. And, you know, you start to kind of get a little bit of a love story that, you know, is going to not go well.
Oh, of course.
yeah, so there's a
Love in space, impossible.
little bit of trauma, a little bit of drama. I just wanted to rhyme.
Trauma
But
and drama, ooh baby.
yeah, but yeah, Devin Kraft's art fantastic. Speaking of Devin Kraft, he did a variant for Coins of Judas with us. We'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, Neverender on the list, and then like I said, Sarah Lone was the one that I was like, it's like crime. I'm not into that. And then I started reading it, and I was like, oh shit, oh okay.
Like,
Each
maybe I
issue
do
was
like this.
so much longer than I expected too, which is always a pleasant surprise.
Not always.
Well, that's fair.
Usually.
Usually a pleasant surprise.
Especially when it's
I mean,
not packed with advertisements to make it fatter.
yes. If it's longer, like Wind, also,
Yes.
that's good. Yes.
Or like Black Cloak that just came out.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
That book was
I
so
wish-
fat and so good, and I want more.
I'm gonna say right now, possibly 2023 book of the year.
Oh yeah, probably.
Um,
Better not.
phenomenal,
So
like
good.
saga level phenomenal. Anyways, we can't talk about that right now because it's 2022.
Yeah,
We're
it's
talking about.
2023.
So Scout Comics, lots of
Mhm.
books that I've read from them this year or this last year, and one that I feel like consistently makes the top of lots of indie lists.
Yeah.
By the Horns, Dark Earth.
So good.
Marquesan and Jason building a beautiful, again, fantasy world.
Unicorns.
Cole, we gotta talk.
Listen, just because you have bad taste doesn't mean we do. I'm kidding.
But he did like it, so that's good. That's good.
That's why you read the next issue to see if you vibe with it. I always give them 3.
Yeah. By the Horns, Dark Earth, fantasy world. It starts out the first arc, which was 2021, started out as a story about unicorns, is what it was.
Murdering
or
all
murder.
of the unicorns specifically, but unicorns, yes.
Yeah, and then it turned into this beautiful saga about becoming friends with those unicorns. Spoiler, a little bit, but and
Loving people for who they are and you
defeating
know.
the evil mages. There was a silent issue that was so beautiful, and like you would probably cry reading it. And then in this arc, we're kind of realizing the consequences of last arc, and
Sometimes you save the world, and sometimes the world doesn't save you back.
sometimes the world is not happy that you saved it.
Yes, sometimes the ley lines get real mad when you fuck with them.
Yeah. And so Elodie is facing her consequences in this a little bit and trying to fix the problems that she created.
If you've seen the TikTok of the man running from the raccoons singing "Here Comes the Consequences of My Actions," that is the plot of this season.
And
of
like,
By the Horns.
oh yeah. And the artwork, just like each issue got better and better. Like Jason
He's
Art
really
did,
finding his stride.
yeah. It was already good, but it just next level by the end. Cult of Icarus. Yeah.
No bias.
Yeah. I don't have any biases, but I mean both of those awesome, but Karl Slaminsky's artwork is like so cool. So cool.
I've seen it called one of the best like lesbian horror books ever.
I could get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Lesbian horror vampire book.
Yep.
Yeah. I could get behind that, yeah. Oh yeah. Ignacio had a variant for By the Horns Dark Earth. I think was that one of the ones on the Scout web store? I think it was a Scout exclusive potentially. Which that's the other thing. Like all of these books, these are like the cover A's and everything, but Scout always had a web store exclusive for everything. There's always like a 1 in 10 variant for all of them.
I don't think there's been store exclusives for By the Horns outside of the web store.
Yeah, there might have been first arc, but I don't think for Dark Earth.
I don't remember. I'm going to be honest.
That's all right. And we got David Burns canceled. So David decided to get himself canceled. No.
Sir.
A story that probably freaked Caroline out so much because of clowns.
Nope, I did not read that.
One she wouldn't
did not
touch
read that.
because of clowns. But yeah, honestly, good thing because it's
Just
creepy.
try to not look at the screen, honestly.
It's insane. Each like what's the word? Each like not like variant's kind of what I'm saying, but iteration. Each iteration of the like clown coming to the next person and like the slaughter and the
clown stories in 2023. Y'all.
So good. So good.
I don't need any more. We've done it.
This one? It was just funny. It was behind my computer monitor.
You just happen to have this here.
Todd made the logo? Oh, for canceled? Or for... Probably for canceled. But yeah, so it was a one-shot from the Black Caravan imprint. And then Distorted was a really cool story about powers and like it not superheroes, but just people getting powers and what impact that had on the world and people hunting them down and all of that. So it was like a little bit X-Men, but in an indie world and not that the X-Men were a superhero team. So it was just people that had the powers.
If they're just like, hey, I'm a regular ass person.
Pretty much. That one I actually picked up a medal for, which I love metal covers too much for their cost. Yeah. Reset my display up a little bit. Forever Forward, Zach Kaplan writing that one, and essentially story where to get back to their present time, they have to keep jumping forward in time.
Time is a circle.
Is the premise, but as things go on, they're really starting to wonder, is that really true? And there's lots of loss. What happens to the world? Some crazy technology versus humans kind of things happening, and I've loved it. I think we got one more issue coming for that one.
Then trade.
And She Bites, a story about a 100-something-year-old vampire in the body of a 9-year-old, I want to say, 10-year-old.
Yeah, a child.
A child. Someone who's really old but looks really young.
More than a toddler, less than a teenager. That's what I know for sure.
She can't do the things that she wants to do because she needs a babysitter or someone who can help her do these things. And so can't. She meets someone who's trying to earn money so they can take a trip to, I think, Ireland to kill themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it's a story that along the way, like, there's a little bit of learning. There's like, I need to post this. I don't remember where I put the picture, but I took a picture of like one of the last pages in it, and it was just such a beautiful message about like not like people who are having depression and thinking about suicide, and essentially yeah, and I think this vampire helped her realize that, even though the vampire is like just out there like killing people and
like, hey, I want to eat you, but like only if you want me to.
Yeah, she actually wanted her to live, and it was beautiful. So well done, team. I'm blanking on the name, but Hedwig, I'm trying to read it, something, and I think it's Alfred Hernandez R, if I remember correctly.
I do not remember.
Great team, 3-issue series. So after Scout, last one of specific publishers, and then we'll head into the other publishers. We got AWA, which, like I said, we got a little bit of a mix of Resistance universe this year, along with non-Resistance. And so the Upshot, I thought Upshot, I don't know, they've changed kind of what Upshot is, I think.
Yeah.
Because I thought Upshot was the Resistance universe, but that would mean all of these are the Resistance universe, and that's not true. Erratic and the Joneses are part of that Resistance universe. Hit Me, Fourth Man, and Not All Robots are not. Not All Robots ended in 2022, and the trade paperback graphic novel released in 2022. So that's why it made the list, because also it was just so good.
Yeah, it was so obscenely good. And we are getting another one eventually at some point. There's supposed to be a follow-up to it.
I can't wait. Mark Russell can do like no wrong on writing. So good. Traveling to Mars right now is fantastic from him. But Erratic, I don't know. That's like my favorite part of the Resistance universe. It's a teenager, 15-year-old who can use his powers for 10 minutes. And then he's got like high school drama going on also. And he doesn't want to be known as Erratic, trying to hide his identity while people are hunting.
He's like Spider-Man, but if Spider-Man had electricity powers and could only use them for minutes at a time.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He tries to throw some quips in too. And Kari Andrews' artwork is pretty cool on this too. And Kari does the writing. So mix of that. Fourth Man was another like crime one that I enjoyed this year. Between two competing car dealerships, and they were like,
which is like what?
Right, of all things, and it's based on a true story. That's the best part.
I remember when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll read this. I'll give this a chance. And I was like, what is this? How is this real? How is this real?
This is literally the story that you can't make up because it happened.
Just like, how did you manage to do all of these things, sir?
Inja Binja, what's up? Yeah, I liked Fourth Man too.
Oh no, it's not bad at all. You're just like, how did this happen in real life?
Right. I don't understand how this was a real thing. I
would. Did you get away with this for as long as you got away with this?
Right. Hit Me from Krista Faust. I can't read what the artist's name is on there. I should have written these names down, but Priscilla, something like that. Story that's also a little bit of crime in there, but she was like a bit of a sex worker, but more like in like causing pain to people. People have different kinks. It's their thing.
Yeah, we don't judge.
But she gets mixed up in like this whole like diamond stealing, selling scheme, and like so it turns into the story of her like helping kind of take down some big bad guy, and a little bit of a love story-ish thing in there, or will they, won't they? But it was well written, and the pacing. Sometimes AWA will put out like a 4-issue book, and I'm concerned about the pacing. And this was 5 issues, and I was like, all right, I'm into this. Yep, we're pacing this super good. Erratic, I think, worked for the 4 issues.
Yeah.
He only gets 10 minutes, so like, come on, you can't show too much. The Jones is another part of the Resistance universe, with like you can almost compare them like to the Fantastic Four in a way. We have mother, father, 2 kids that have powers, but in the Resistance universe, we are concerned with them hunting the reborns and trying to like know who's a reborn. Communities don't want reborns in and amongst them.
It's much like the mutants, yeah.
Yeah, and we have another family in the community that are using their powers for bad. And so they keep fighting them, and they don't know who they are. And so the plot goes on, and the community is trying to like kick out the reborns in their community. So a little bit, we can tie some of this to real world and racism and kicking people out of communities and prejudices against them. It's super well written. It's Michael Moreci, who, of course, writer of Barbaric. I think, right? I say that, and then I'm like, wait, second guessing myself. Okay, Michael Moreci's writing. I've been reading a lot more of his stuff recently, and it's
Barbaric is. I can't wait. It comes back like next week.
Yes, yeah, it is. Spoiler: my number 1 pick for next week. I haven't posted that video, but number 1 pick for next week.
2 graphic novels, 2 covers. They're
Yeah.
fine.
I collected like almost every cover for the first run,
I have all the A's and B's for every issue.
and then I cut back for the second arc, but it was fantastic. And then we already talked about Not All Robots a little bit, but ties to the an allegory to the Not All Men movement, and
Well, it's also highly making fun of it.
also yeah, and the humor in it is so much fun.
Oh, Snowball.
Robot humor, love it. But yeah, Mike Deodato's art on this also was really good. Mike, I feel like I'm hit or miss on his art, but in this is indie stuff.
It works.
So good. So let's head into other publishers, best of other publishers, which reminds me because we put Barbaric in the final list, but it probably should have been here too.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, we were trying to keep our numbers down to like 6 per category, and it did not work. We just love too many books. Barry, what's up? Yeah, all of these are great books. I can't wait to see the next arc of Billy the Kit and your other stuff. I think Billy the Kit ended in either end of 2021 or the start of 2022. Blue Juice Comics. So let's head into these. We've got a variety of publishers here: Source Point Press, Blood Moon, Wave Blue World, Red 5, Vault, Mad Cave, and Ablaze. So each of these books is actually from a different publisher, and that was not on purpose.
We actually did a pretty good job with that.
We did. So first up, from Jonathan Hedrick and Stefano Cardicelli, we've got Caffeinated Hearts, a one-shot slice of life story set in a cyberpunk world.
Yeah.
In a coffee shop.
Of course.
Beautiful.
Listen, it doesn't matter what universe it is. Humans always want coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like a beautiful one shot. I loved it. Cover the Dead with Lime from Blood Moon. We've got from Jonathan Chance, Hernan Gonzalez, Damian Follette, who have all been on the channel. We talked with them about. Well, I talked with them about Cover the Dead with Lime. Blech. I can talk.
Can you? Should you?
Some love for Caffeinated Hearts in the chat.
Yeah. It was so good.
But Cover the Dead with Lime set in 1600s, I think 1600s, London, where the plague is going on, and instead of people dying and spreading the plague, they wake up and turn into zombies. Or not wake up, but rise from the dead. And our plague doctor has to fight them. So a whole new take on the plague doctors.
Love it.
Crash and Troy from A Wave Blue World. I was able to grab a couple of the books, but I could not find all of them where I have them.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
This was a signed copy from A Wave Blue World's Whatnot sale. It's got Jared Lujan and Kyler Clodfelter. It's creative team on here. For Lonnie was the colorist. So cool team. This book was supposed to come out originally from another publisher. Jared fought for the rights back and got it to a better publisher. And it was a long journey, I think, but it was worth it. They did some good stuff with this story. It's funny. It's sci-fi. It looks like we could get another arc of it. I love that. It's kind of left in a good place to end that, but with an open
yeah, if you want to, you could.
So I hope we get to see more of it in the future. Dead Kingdom from Red 5, from Etienne and Jerome. They came on the channel when we were doing the giant Holiday Spirits.
Yeah, the big cluster
stream. Yeah. Talked a little bit about Dead Kingdom. Etienne's artwork is so good. It's ended up on the top spot twice for me. By the Horns is the only other one that did that in 2022. So just acknowledging them for that. But I'm loving it. It's kind of like I feel like Cover the Dead with Lime and Dead Kingdom were coming out, and I'm like, zombie stories, yes, let's go. Different
I love a
takes on
good
zombies.
zombie story.
Right. We got medieval zombie story and like London plague zombie story.
Mm-hmm.
And Dead Kingdom has like this hints that there's some sorcery and stuff going on that's causing it. So I'm loving that. And I know this one is one of your favorites right now.
Yeah.
End After End.
It's basically just like purgatory, but like not. It's the end after the end. It's what happens after you die, but before you go to heaven. You gotta fight this magical lady's eternal war for her.
And yeah, the last issue went some places and some self-discovery and kind of learning about himself.
Shit.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's been great. I've been getting Liana Kingus's covers as well because they're just phenomenal. So I love it. I think it's one of those little sneaky books that not enough people are reading.
Yeah. And again, it's fault. Everything they've been putting out is quality.
Yes.
But we wanted to highlight this one because it's up there. It's one of those ones that y'all should check out.
And it's really easy to digest for like the content that it covers.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even like, it is like he's from the real world, right? Like our world. And then this End After End is a fantasy world. It's so good. So good. Nottingham from Mad Cave is the first arc. I actually picked it up on a whim, and then it like exploded.
And the series was chaos.
And rightfully, like a dark take on Robin Hood and the sheriff and all of that. Like an even darker take than there already are out there.
Yeah.
And this arc was fantastic too. More chaos going on in this world, and the sheriff having to team up with Robin Hood to kind of serve a higher purpose, but not really trusting what's going on either.
Oh no, you never trust what's going on.
No. So that was fantastic second arc from David Hazan, Shane Connery-Volk, and Mono. And now they're about to do I guess it's an arc of bringing in different creators, almost like an anthology of tales in Nottingham, which features some of their Mad Cave talent search winners.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
So Damien Becton, who's been on here, we chatting about his Kickstarter, Worlds Away, which is like right there.
I didn't realize that's what they were doing with the winner. Like that's where it was going with that contest.
At least that's he's really cool. In it. I don't know if like other ones are in there, but I know he's in there. And then the first issue is David Hazan, Shane Connery-Volk doing the first issue of it, and then they're gonna take you into like guest creators each issue. So it's like Nottingham Tales from Nottingham, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's coming out, I think, within the next month.
Okay.
So, and then they're going to come back for a third arc of Nottingham. So that's like, it's one of Mad Cave's, I think, best-selling books.
Yeah.
Ever, potentially. I don't know. I don't know if ever, but right now, in the last probably 2 years. Traveling to Mars, like we already said, Mark Russell's writing.
It's great.
Phenomenal. The humor is great. The introspection and like the things that his writing makes you think about is so good. So good.
Yeah.
And it's a guy who's dying and is going to go travel to Mars because they need a dying man to go.
The premise is Earth is dying. The first person to go to Mars claims Mars for whoever, wherever they want.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to get someone to Mars. We don't know how to get them back. So this corporation goes, fuck it, we're not going to get them back. Find someone who's going to die there. All we need them to do is land on the planet, say, I claim this for us, we Gucci.
Isn't it also like a meat company or something like that? Like some bizarre company.
Yeah, I think it is a meat company. They're like, listen, we're not concerned about bringing him back. He has like 5 years max to live. He's going to land there. He's going to get to live his life in a beautiful new planet and then die.
Yep. And he's got these like AI robots as companions for the trip.
And he's a loner who has nothing, no one, really no reason to bother to live politely.
Yeah.
So why not?
And his
What could go wrong?
he got to at least have a like last phone call with his mom while he's already on the way to Mars.
Yeah,
And
sorta.
that was a little emotional of a talk.
Little rip your heart out moment.
Yeah. Like, yeah, Mom, I didn't tell you I'm going to Mars to go die.
Hey, by
Sorry.
the by.
Goodbye. So that wraps up our best comics from other publishers. We are going to go on to slide number 10, which is best Kickstarter comics of 2022. And the nominees are Granite State Punk from Travis Gibb and Peter Biermeyer. Jerome doing the letters on that one. Hocus Hocus, Alan Dunford. I forget who his rest of the team is, but Alan's going to be on the channel coming up in a couple weeks too. I think February for the issue 5 of Hocus Hocus. But this is a really cool like magic story. There's hints of influence, I think, from like Zatanna a little bit too. It's fun. I like it. I can't wait to see some more of this. Smokeweed, See the Future, Pat Shand, Ishan Lee, Jen St. Jim Campbell. I think this funded in 2021, but it came out in 2022. And then Volume 2 funded in 2022.
Yeah, but we'll be out in 2023.
Just anything Destiny New York, honestly, is I feel like what I'm putting in Smokeweed See the Future, because
yeah, the whole thing's great.
Everything Pat Shand's been putting out with that world is phenomenal. So use that as a placeholder for everything Pat Shand Destiny New York. But Smokeweed See the Future specifically was fantastic. Stake Presents Jessamy, issue 2 came out this year. Issue 3 funded this year, and I just saw them post that the art is done. So we should be hearing more about that, and when
very
it's
exciting.
Getting into our hands very soon. Yeah, Geek Collective, Dead Kingdom, Pocus Hocus. Fantastic books. After Stake Presents Jessamy, which honestly, if you haven't looked at Francesca's artwork in Stake on like
what are you doing? Why are you looking at
small, but like that Spider-Gwen cover that she did for me when she was in New Orleans, it's so good. It's so good.
10 out of 10. Would recommend for anything always.
Yes. White Ash is a fantastic world, like a modern take on dwarfs versus elves in a way. And the deluxe edition was on Kickstarter this year, as well as Galarian issue number 2. So Charlie Stickney's just whole world of White Ash is what I'm kind of putting into that one right there. Just like Destiny New York going into the Smokeweed See the Future. But Hughes's art on there is fantastic. Charlie's writing is awesome. He's got a lot more things going on over with Kickstarter campaigns too. So
yeah,
he's one I always say check out. It's funny that actually Stake and White Ash ended up next to each other because David and Charlie used to co-publish at Scout together. So that's funny that they ended up on the same spot alphabetically next to each other.
Adorable.
And then the last one, Worlds Away, from Damien Becton. I forget the entire art team on that one, but Damien, the writer, like I just said, is going to be doing an issue with Tales from Nottingham coming up too. Worlds Away 1 funded and released in 2022. Worlds Away 2 funded and is not quite released yet, but I think is getting pretty close. So I can't wait. It's a fun sci-fi story. I think he sold it as like for fans of Radiant Black, but like there's a very real connection between the story and his like relationship with his mother and father and like understanding of why parents did what they did when you were younger, but now as like an adult, you're appreciating what they did.
You'll appreciate this when I'm 30.
Right, like the mother putting in like lots of hours of work, but as a kid you don't understand why, and then you're an adult and you're like, oh my god, you were caring for me, you were keeping me alive, all of
To
that.
make money so I can eat and have a home.
Exactly. So fantastic sci-fi story that also has elements of fantasy. We got some like mage lady that popped up. There's it's fun. I love it. But I love all of these. So I honestly this is one of the hardest categories for me. All of them are so good. Let's talk about the best graphic novels.
So many good ones.
So some of these were series that came out with individual issues probably through 2021 and then took us into 2022 with getting the trade paperback. So that would be Eat the Rich, Carmen, and Layla Starr, Not All Robots.
Yeah.
But some of these
Lore Olympus Volume 1, 2 as well. One came out in 2022 or 2021, but the rest of them were 2022.
Yeah, and then Lore Olympus, of course, was a webcomic first, so that's been releasing constantly on there. But the rest then were graphic novel specific releases in 2022. And so this was a big category because there were a lot of cool things that came out in this last year. Eat the Rich, really writing, Pius Bach on artwork. And this is the first time we'll talk about Sarah, but we're going to talk about her in talk about them in a second in the new and promising also. Eat the Rich, though, so good. Weird horror in a way. Literally, I guess we turned from eating the poor, I feel like, in that story to eating the rich. Literally.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's kind of how the world worked. But yeah, a very weird, isolated, like rich community that when their servants and workers retired, they ate them.
We eat you.
Yeah,
we
and then
we eat you.
This girl was thought she was going to be with this guy who was a son of the family in there, and really did not want to be there, and learned too much. And so it's a story about her and how she handles all of that.
Yeah.
Which I would not handle that well.
It was phenomenally well written, and the art is just obscenely good.
Yeah. But even like when they talk about like the reasoning behind why the workers actually work there, knowing what's going to happen, is kind of super relatable to life.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, all the health problems that I have, they take care of them.
Everything that's wrong with America.
Free healthcare for doing this job. Yeah. Enter the Blue. I was trying to find where I put it. I have not finished reading it, but it's like a beautiful story about music, and his artwork on this, Dave Chisholm, is so good. And I just saw him post something like a set of panels from it today on Twitter. So I was going to pull that up because I think it's a fun way that he played with the paneling in this, that instead of reading like left to right, top to bottom, like you follow the music notes.
Fun.
Yeah. So like a whole different like take on styles of paneling and everything happening in this. So I think like the innovative pieces of this is why I wanted to put this up here.
Okay.
And then It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. Like, do you guys want to cry? Because everyone needs to read this and needs the cry that's going to come from it. But one, Zoe Thorogood's artwork and unique like style and storytelling, phenomenal. But if you have depression and you're in a like good place, I'd say this is a good story to read and like think about.
Yeah, don't read it if you're in a bad place.
But if you're in a bad place, and it has a warning at the beginning that Zoe wrote in there, don't read it. Don't read it. Wait till you're in a good place and then I think is a beautiful story to check out. And also, like, the fact that the story just kind of restarts at the middle of it is hilarious.
Yeah.
There's some good humor in here, besides making you want to cry. And yeah. Speaking of beautiful
And
stories,
Carmen, kind of the same trigger. Just don't read it if you're not in a good place.
but also, please read it, everybody. Even people
Read it. It's
that they
required
don't
reading
read it.
for human existence. It and Layla
Yeah.
Starr are the two books that I'm like, if you don't read these, we can't be friends.
Yeah. We'll just go to Layla Starr then for a moment, and we'll come back to Lore Olympus, because Layla Starr. Well, first of all, Guillaume March was creator for Carmen, and art and writing fantastic. Layla Starr, we've got Ram V and Felipe Andrade.
I can
quite
never say
precisely say it, but one, artwork fantastic. Two, Ram V's writing beautiful.
I think Ram V's goal is to just make everyone cry as many times as he can while reading his work, honestly.
Yeah. Just that's I don't know what else we need to say about Layla Starr, but it's
but it's just required reading for the human existence. Like, read it, be a better person because of it.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say like half of this list is required reading.
Mm-hmm.
The other half is highly recommended reading. Lore Olympus. I have not read it. You talk about it.
So, Lore Olympus is if you took Greek gods and goddesses and basically made it like Gossip Girl. It used to be, well, it still is. It's a webtoon that is being published and put in graphic novel format. It's also been optioned by Netflix, and the creator is working with Netflix to make it. So look out for that. It's going to be an animated series. But it's, it's the story we all know of, Hades and Persephone, but definitely done in like Gossip Girl. It's a high society setting. There's parties and events and happenings and cell phones and all this shit. And it's like, what if that, like, the gods of Olympus were just really, really, really rich people kind of vibe.
I like it. It's one that's on my list to eventually
It's
read.
phenomenal. It's amazing. Every character is their own color. So like Hades is the blue, Persephone is pink. Everyone has their own like standalone color to acknowledge like that's who this god or goddess is.
I like that. I like that.
It's the artwork is amazing, and like it reads well digitally, but I think it's just so much better in the book format. And then royalties alone, she makes a killing off of it.
I mean, it's always good to be able to support the creator in a way versus like webtoon. Sometimes you can. Sometimes
you only make so much money on a webtoon.
Yeah. Not all robots we've already talked about, but again, I'd say that's pretty high up there on some required reading. But not like Carmen, Layla Starr level. And then Walking Without a Soul, I thought was just a beautiful story. It's part 1 of 3. Came out from before the name change. Even though the image says Sumerian, it actually says Behemoth. Which I thought actually was going to end up like one version was going to say Behemoth and one was going to say Sumerian, just because of the timing.
Nope.
But Alicia Fernandez, the creator on this, the artwork is really good. The fantasy story, essentially, that we're getting, and kind of implications of selling your soul to be able to come back to life and live a new life when you die. So there's these creatures that try to beat death to people and take their soul and exchange the soul for being able to come back and live a life however they want.
Interesting.
And so it's following our main character here, who kind of became one of those creatures when she met them and died from other things happening. And now it's a little bit about their relationship that gets a little toxic and things that happen there. But it's a beautiful, well-written story.
Okay.
And then
Very cool.
she goes and breaks the one rule of if death has claimed a body, you can't take their soul.
Of course, you gotta.
So what happens then? Got to read to find out. But one of my favorites this year, from all of these, honestly. But again, a hard category to choose.
Yeah.
And we were loving some horror titles, so we wanted to highlight a little bit of horror. We probably could have added like 10 more books to this, but we did try to keep this one a little bit more limited. So we have The Approach from Boom Studios, from Jeremy Hahn writing. This one caught me by surprise. I didn't put it on my pull list, and then I was like, I'll pick up issue 1, see how it is. It's monster horror. It's like a little bit of I think, is it The Thing? The one that's like the old like movie?
I don't
classic horror movie. Yeah. Honestly, like I've started to watch.
I don't know.
I've started to watch some, but I haven't made my way to like there. No, but I like this a lot. We got this crazy monster that has arrived via an airplane from like that's been lost since like 30, 40, 50 years. I don't remember the exact time. But now it's hunting the people that are snowed into this airport. So fun stuff there. Cover the Dead with Lime, our zombie horror story set in the 1600s plague era. Dark Ride, Josh Williamson writing this one. I only read issue 1. I'm gonna pick up.
I love this book.
Yeah,
I think this one is phenomenal. So it's basically Disney World, right? But what if Walt Disney made a pact with the devil, and that's why the park was so popular, and that's why people kept coming, and your park isn't doing as well, so like you need a new ride, son. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
It's great. It's got family drama. There's a brother and a sister. You know, the dad runs the park. He designs all the new rides and everything, but he hasn't come out of his hidey hole in years. And, you know, his sister's this big famous personality, and her name is Halloween.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it is great. I think it's phenomenal. Sweeney Boo's been doing all of the like variant covers for it. I am obsessed.
Yeah. Somewhere I have your signed one from Fan Expo.
But the first arc just ended, so there's another one coming soon. But I've been loving this.
Yeah.
And it's 4 issues instead of 5, which is abnormal for an Image series.
Yeah. Image definitely doesn't do a lot of 4 issues, but then Vanish and Dark Ride both for 4 issues.
Both 4 issues.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick up the trade on that unless I find the Sweeney Boo covers, and then maybe I'll end up with those. Nice House on the Lake, another James Tynion book, of course.
Last issue finally came out.
Last issue. I think that's the cover for the last issue. I can't remember what I put on here. Oops, spoilers. I clicked and it went. I honestly I love that this is not done.
Yep. I kind of knew. I was like, there's no way he's just going to do 12 issues.
Yeah. The fact that, though, it ended in a place that tells us we could go and explore a bigger, wider world of the other pods, the other... More of the creatures, more of... everything.
Just more expansion, which I'm here for with James Tynion's world building.
Yeah. Like, say what you will about, like, other stuff with him, but like his world building, fantastic. Especially like Wind, the world we're getting there. Whew.
I need more. I want to read everything that's ever happened in this place.
I can see why mixed feelings would come up about the ending. I don't want to spoil exactly what happened in the ending, but I could see some reasons for mixed feelings about it. But I like where it's taking the direction of the world.
I feel like I think he kind of, I don't think it was his original ending, and because it was doing so well, open up world building expansion, so it kind of had to go that way.
That could be, yeah.
But
And
we'll see.
then we got, of course, this had to get on here. Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000.
So good.
I read the first.
So
two.
unexpectedly good.
I decided that my way of reading everything, Bone Orchard Mythos, is going to be to read the first issue and then to get the like hardcover edition, because of the first hardcover that came out. That was that was how you could get it. And the
cool, because it was a one shot, and they went, instead of publishing it and then republishing it, we're just going to publish it once.
Yeah, the like OCD collector in me said I need them all in a similar format.
No, I get that.
So here we are, and I'm waiting till that edition comes out. But
it's been really good. It's just as good as the one shot was. So
that's fair. You could say that was the end if you wanted.
Yeah.
It's up to you, Cole.
You don't have to explore the other pods.
You wait until 12 more issues probably, or what, I don't know, whatever else comes out, and then get a collected version. That's the great thing about comics, is you can read them in so many different ways.
Or not read them if you decide you don't want to.
Right. You can say, I think the story ended here.
Yep. For me, this is all I want. This is all I need.
Yeah. All right. We are down to 2 more categories.
Almost there.
We have best new and promising comics, that essentially these ones have 1 or 2 come out at the time of creation of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Nature's Labyrinth will have a 3rd issue coming out next week. But the rest of these 1 or 2 issues had come out. Like a good consumer.
So as someone who buys all the Lay's chips, I get it.
Yeah. Food equals
you gotta try every new one, all the new Oreo flavors, just to be sure.
I mean, the way I've been buying stuff, often I'm like, all right, and I love this, let's get it in the collected version as well. And then I don't get rid of the individual issues, and thus I have piles of stuff everywhere that I need to like sort through. But best new and promising, we've got from Boom Studios, Briar, which we talked about earlier. Fantastic dark take on Sleeping Beauty. We've got Dahlia in the Dark from Mad Cave Studios. Joe Corallo, and I'm blanking on his artist, but Dahlia in the Dark, a little bit of a fantasy noir story we got going on. Supernatural creatures are in this world, and we've got like a little bit of a car chase happening now, trying to figure out what to do with this package that is supposed to be delivered. And when our main character finds out what's in the package,
what's in the box?
Yeah. I'm not going to say what's in the box because it's a big spoiler. But let's just say, morality wise, he's rethinking whether or not he wants to do this job. And then we got from Black Box Comics, if you guys are still in here, Dream Master. We have had 2 issues now of that. Issue 2, I think, came last week. Issue 1 came out in 2020. And Jonathan Hedrick writing, Luigi Baracelli on the art, Ruben Curto on the colors, and oh my god, the artwork is just, it's so much fun to like just look in the background and be like, what's this
going on here? What's going on?
All of these things, so many cool things going on in this dream world. And we've got Dream Master, who is this paladin who is saving people from the dream world, which has this like queen of dreams, I think. I'm blanking on what her title was, but she is the villain that is hunting people in the world to kind of build up her power so she can, I think, leave the dream world and go hurt more people, essentially.
Yep.
And he has zero idea who he really is. And in issue 2, he received a memory that may or may not be his memory, but a memory that makes him wonder about who he is a little bit more. So a little bit of teasing going on in issue 2. But issue 1 had such a solid start in a beautiful world, and that's why I made the list.
Yeah.
Hexware from Image Comics, from Tim Seeley, and again, artist's name is not coming to my head right away, but it was an artist I hadn't seen before, and I'll probably look it up because their artwork is really good. Zulema Lavina.
I don't know that name.
That's their artwork on the cover there too. Essentially, there's this robot assistant who has some sentience that witnesses this really bad thing happen, and her the daughter of this family dies that she's serving, and she decides to become a witch to bring her soul back. And now that the soul, the exchange for the soul was that she has to now go hunt down these supernatural creatures.
As one does.
Yeah. An exchange of services. Know Your Station, we are back to Sarah Gailey, and now with Liana Kingus on the artwork, and this one. Have you read issue 2?
Oh yeah, I've been reading all of it.
Yeah, it's top notch again. All the billionaires go to space because Earth is dying, and so they're like,
there's a murder on the space station. Is there? Maybe someone's very drugged out, and we're not actually sure.
We don't know who the murderer is, but there's a lot of hints telling us it's our inspector who is a little drugged out.
Yo, I totally think it's the fucking ship.
Oh God, yeah.
I think it's St. Bridget. Personally, I think it's St. Bridget. I think it's going haywire.
I mean, or it's fuck the billionaires, I'm gonna kill them all.
Or that. Both acceptable.
When you treat the technology poorly, it will rise up.
I think it's St. Bridget.
That could be. Yeah. Trying to make, I forget our main character's name, but trying to make her think it's her that did it.
Shit, I also forgot it.
Yeah.
I wrote a review on this. What was your fucking name? I can only remember the character from Black Cloak.
It's okay. There are so many names that we read from comics that they don't all stay in our heads.
I didn't remember your name. I'm sorry, man.
But anyways, that one's from Boom Studios. So we've got 2 Boom, a Mad Cave, a Black Box, Image, another Mad Cave here, Nature's Labyrinth, like we were talking about earlier. Highly recommend. A little bit of Battle Royale, but with a labyrinth that changes all the time, and it's out on this island. I'm like, I want to know how they do that in this world. What are the mechanics of this world that make them able to do that? But essentially, they brought together these supposedly bad people to fight to get to the prize money at the end of the labyrinth, and the rules essentially say they can kill each other and do whatever. But there's 2 characters that it kind of seems to focus on. One appears to have potentially been in the labyrinth before, and the other, we don't know why she's there, why that character is trying to protect him. But it seems like there's a little bit of protection kind of thing going on there.
Interesting.
Traveling to Mars from Blaze, Mark Russell, Roberto Melli. We talked about a few times. And the last one, Vicious Circle from who's the incredible artist on this? Lee Bermejo, who is exhibiting different styles of art in different.
It was wild the way that he changed through what he was doing.
I flipped through it. Mainly the reason I didn't pick it up.
The size is literally the only thing that's wrong with that book.
The size and the cost.
Well, it wouldn't be so expensive if it wasn't so fucking big. But it's one of those big ass square books.
Yeah, but quality-wise with the comic, it's worth bringing up as a new and promising comic. It's a
Plot and
3-issue
content
series.
is great.
Yeah.
Only problem with that book is the physical size of it.
Yeah, I flipped through it because I was intrigued, but I'm gonna wait for the trade on
It's
it.
So this one guy is chasing this other guy through time because this one guy can jump through time whenever he wants, and every time he jumps, they both jump. So he's trying to follow him and kill him before he does the thing because they're both from the future. This guy jumps back in time to do a thing. This guy jumps back to stop him. They're fighting each other the entire time.
And everyone lives happily ever after.
He catches him for a little bit, and then he gets out, and it's like, oh shit. It's good. It really does have a lot of premise. The writing was phenomenal in it.
It's one that
like if you're not a square bound person, if you're not those bigger than magazine, well, not bigger than magazine. If it's in a magazine size back and forth, but it's that big.
It's one that I really want to read, but I'm gonna get that trade and wait for that.
That is what I am doing. Also, I did not buy the issue. I just read it.
Read it at the shop for. Did you do a review for the shop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. I flipped through it in the shop just because I was curious, like how he did the different styles, and I was like, oh damn, all right.
Like he's definitely flexing on everyone with this book.
Yeah, I mean, if you think like this style is kind of, I think, what he's known for, like the cover, what he did here. But
yeah, I mean, it looks like that on the inside for a good first half of the book, and then it changes to a different art style, and it's still just.
I can do this too, and I can do this, and
yeah.
So, time for the top indie comics of 2022. We'll pretend there's a drum roll playing. But most of you have probably already clicked the link and seen. And now we're going to talk about why we selected these comics as best of 2022. First up from Vault Comics, we have Barbaric Axe to Grind from Michael Moresi.
I'm just obsessed with it.
Good and on the art. It's probably one of my favorite Vault books that they've done recently. Axe, the talking axe that drinks blood and gets drunk on the blood. The cursed barbarian who can only like kill evil people.
Kill people that the axe deems worthy of being killed.
Right. And then Soren, the witch, who has tattoos of
necromancer.
Weapons,
excuse you.
Well, sorcerer of sorts.
She calls herself a necromancer.
But the sword tattoos.
Yeah, she's got tattoo sword blades.
Swords off of her freaking tattoos. Like, what? Again, Michael Moresi writing. This is just phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
By the Horns, Dark Earth, Marquise Nasso, Jason Muir, Steve Cannon on the colors. Great.
Another just phenomenal series.
Phenomenal fantasy. That's like half of this is phenomenal fantasy. We've got we've talked about Dark Earth or By the Horns, Dark Earth a lot, but just a series that you see the team level up as the series goes on, and it just gets better and better. Issue 7 coming soon. That'll be the second volume of Dark Earth. Can't wait for that. Crash and Troy.
Like 3 new series coming from or not 3 new series. There's they've announced what, 2 more or 1 more arc
of By the Horns?
Yeah.
There's, I mean, Scoutwise announced like the next arc, but they're planning another arc.
They said it was gonna be at least 2, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because they said this Dark Earth arc was going to be broken into 2 volumes to make it 12 issues, and then there's at least 1 more arc, but I think there may be 2.
Yeah, I think there's another arc after the next not Dark Earth arc.
Yeah, so depending on how many issues those end up coming out to.
So lots of that to come.
It's well paced. There's action in every issue. Different parts of the world coming to it.
Mass character development too.
Oh yeah, Elodie from start to now has grown so much.
Different, so different.
Crash and Troy, A Wave Blue World. We got fun sci-fi story that has great humor. Warring worlds, lots of little twists going on in it. Fantastic little mini series from Jared Lujan and Kyler Clodfelter. And then from Behemoth at the time, this was actually a series I think that in the middle of it changed to Sumerian. We got another sci-fi story, Dark Beach, we talked about before, with our world that is no longer near the sun for whatever reason. Lots of mystery, conspiracy, murder, and I like the world. I just want to go see more of the world. Dead Kingdom, back to fantasy, but with horror and zombies and the Middle Ages. From Red 5 Comics, from Etienne Derrepentigny and Jerome Gagnon. Fantastic creative team on that one. From Image Comics, 8 Billion Genies, Charles Soule, Ryan Brown. Such a fun, wild, imaginative story.
One of the most unique things I think that came out this past year too.
Right? And then like the twist about who the bartender was, like that. It's like, oh snap. Okay.
I really enjoy the take of you get one wish, not 3 wishes as well, because like it really makes it matter. And one of the rules is you can't wish for more wishes, bruh.
Yeah.
We know you. We know humanity.
Yeah. Can't wish for more genies.
As much as you wish you could.
1,000 genies. Nah.
Give me all the genies.
So we've got Vault Comics, Scout Comics, Wave Blue World, Sumerian, Red 5, Image. Now we got one from AWA. Hit Me. Just one of those series that, like I said, pacing was so well done. The art is so fantastic. And story that, like, genre-wise caught me by surprise. And so I like when a book catches me by surprise and takes me to, like, a whole new world that I wouldn't look at. Yeah. Another one from Behemoth / Sumerian, Neverender. Another fun sci-fi world that gets a little, and by a little I mean a lot, emotional. And has a new, I think there's another 3-issue arc that's going to kind of wrap the story coming up March, I think, because it's in the catalog now.
Okay.
And then back to the fantasy worlds with
More wind. Always
Thrown in the Sky.
Wind.
So, I mean, there are like all of these stories I have a little bit of a bias towards for one reason or another. I don't know how I'm going to vote when I vote for this because
it's kind of hard.
They're so good. They're also
like, well, fuck, they're all my favorites.
They're all my favorites.
They're all my favorites.
I can't decide. I need you guys to decide for me and cast your votes. Let me repost the link for you guys if you haven't gone over there already. Links in the description, but it's also in the chat right now. Well, depending on how delayed my audio is versus my typing in the chat.
Yeah.
Because limitations on StreamYard. Yeah.
It should be there at some point.
Exactly. But yeah, that is everything in our picks. So we didn't put individual creators into our list, but we are going to be recognizing our, not necessarily our favorite, but creators that we love and creators that we read.
People we feel like really just stepped the game up this year.
Yeah. So we're going to recognize them in the awards show, but it's going to be a list of just like all of the ones that we love reading books from. So instead of doing a vote on that, because
everyone knows James Tynion can write a good book.
James Tynion would probably sweep. So we wanted to make it fair, and it would be wrong if we also didn't recognize James Tynion.
Because he does write several of our favorite books as well.
Right. Wind.
Hello.
Something's Killing the Children. Nice House on the
Hello.
Lake. Just like,
It's just
yeah.
phenomenal.
But
Even like The Closet, if you didn't read that, that was a really good spooky read.
I have mixed thoughts on it.
It's 3 issues, bro. It's so unexpectedly. I was like, I'm not expecting anything other than your average James Tynion book from this, and I was like, I got exactly what I wanted. It was great. It was a James Tynion book. It was spooky. It was a little bit uncomfortable, but in a horror way, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It had
So-
real moments in it that you're like, oh shit, real life, yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
get it.
we're going to recognize all of these creators that we like, and we'll probably pick up most things from in that award show. That award show is going to be on February 5th, same time as this, 3 p.m.
Yep. Another
Eastern.
Sunday.
So we want you to get your votes cast by, what did I say on the form? I actually finally put it in, February 3rd at 5 p.m. So that would be the Friday at 5 p.m. A
Gives us
lot of
time
you,
to go through everything about us. I mean, Jeremy.
yeah, I gotta create images and all. I'll create like a template before then, and then I just go plug and go. But I'm unplugging things. Yeah, I'm accidentally hitting chords, and it's like unplugged, replugged.
Hey, I usually knock my camera out at least once a stream, so this is good for me.
No, that was
This is
just
good
like
for me.
an external drive, which thankfully was not a needed drive. But yeah, so February 5th, 3 p.m. Eastern, we're going to go live and reveal
Same time.
the winners of the 2022 Indies Awards. If I come up with a better name before next year, we may change the name, but I think Indies works because that's what we're talking about. I could not come up with a name based on our channel. There was like some channels that was like the Neighborlies, and they're like the Friendly Neighborhood Comic Show or something like that. But yeah, You Promised Me Comics. Can't come up with a name super easy from that.
Yeah.
So if there's creative minds out there watching this that want to give us a name for next year, feel free. Otherwise,
we won't be mad about it.
Otherwise, we'll be the Indies Awards, and you know what? We'll claim that title. So I think I have one more. I got this. But I have one more slide, and it's a plug for the exclusive comic cover that we have coming out for Coins of Judas #1. Like I said earlier when we were talking about Neverender, Devin Kraft did the artwork for this cover. The comic is written by Travis Gibb with interior art by Tyler Carpenter. Published from Band of Bards, a newer publisher that's got a couple books that have come out through Diamond currently, Prospects, Final Gamble, and Through the Static, I want to say was the anthology that they just put out. But a couple things have come out from them, and this will be the next one. Regular is going to be limited to 50 copies, but only $15 for a very limited comic.
Yeah.
Foil cover limited to 25 copies for $35, or snag them both for $45. So you can either purchase via DM on Instagram or the link to the coffee that is down below. There's a coffee store set up. Ko-Fi or
both are acceptable formats. Neither is incorrect.
Yeah.
You can message us both individually as well, and we'll figure it out.
Either one of us or the You Promised Me Comics Instagram page, and we will send you a PayPal invoice, and then shipping is $8. It's going to go out in a Gemini mailer, in a one of those USPS mailer thingies, envelope things that make it flat rate,
reasonably priced.
Right. So that would be it. Hit us up for that, and we will get that sent. I haven't gotten them in the mail yet. It's releasing, I think, the 25th, so it should be within the next week or so that I will get them here. And then you'll posts of them on Instagram.
I can't wait to see the orange in person. It's gonna look so good.
It's like the orange fade to pink. I'm like, I love what he did with the colors. I love the dynamic look. Like we said before, this is homaging in a angled, dynamic way.
In a light way.
the Hawkeye #1 cover.
Yeah, Kate Bishop, maybe.
Yeah. The only other thing I would have added maybe would be like a #1 thing, big old #1. But I liked how it came out. Quality family time means hunting dangerous demons.
Exactly.
Which it's a story about hunting dangerous demons and family drama, and it's phenomenal.
It's supernatural. It's not. It's better.
It's I see the comparison though. It's a little supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. Family's going out hunting demons, saving the world. Sammy.
Yeah, we're almost towards 200 responses.
Nice.
Now I do have to go back and review these because I forgot to limit it to 1 response at the beginning, and so I have to review that there's not like repeated similar responses coming.
Nobody who went in and voted 20 times for themselves.
I think there were a couple of those at the beginning before I put that limit on, so I will double check that. But if not, that's an impressive number already.
Yeah. Damn.
Thanks to Marqueson for noticing the link in the YouTube video and tweeting out about that it was nominated. And then other people saw that, and it kind of snowballed. That
a minor spiral, but it's fine.
The post got over 12,000 views on Twitter, which I've never tweeted that much. Like,
I don't think any. Listen. I only lurk, so
I only have like 1,000 people following me on Twitter, and it's reached 12,000 eyes. So thank you to everybody. That reach is awesome. So I think that maybe hopefully brought in some new subscribers to the channel. And if you're new here, thank you. I hope you stick around to see interviews this year. We have a lot already planned. A lot more coming. I'm like, how many? Actually, let me read the list. Let's see who we got coming up. So first of all, we already had this year Travis Gibb, Fellhound, Matt Mayer Lowry, and Lewis Southard on the channel. So 4 done. I have posted an interview with Sweeney Boo from Fan Expo. I've got 2 more Fan Expo interviews to post. One with Andrea Lorenzo Molinari and one with Austin Janowski. Coming up, we have Matthew Ehrman on the channel on Wednesday, January 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Coming Wednesday.
Yeah, this Thursday, we have Brett Murphy coming back to the channel, this time with his artist, Wilson Gandolfo, who I've been trying to get to come on. I think he's been working on his English, and that was why he was waiting. But I'm excited we get to talk with Wilson also because I love his art from Paranormal Hitman, from Kingdom Come Deliverance, from all these books were Sumerian Behemoth books. But now they've got a new one coming out from Keenspot called Toy. So they'll be on the channel on Thursday, January 19th at 9 p.m. January 25th, I've got Kickstarter creator Trevor Fernandez Linkovich. I probably mispronounced that a little bit. But I met him at Baltimore Comic-Con this last year, and then he was at Fan Expo in New Orleans like recently, and his book. He's launching a new Kickstarter coming up soon. I gotta read through some digitals, send you some digitals if you want to join us. And then a local creator, so that's on a Wednesday. That same week, Thursday, John Holland, a local creator who is launching a Kickstarter called Alma with Hernan Gonzalez. His artwork's on the book. He's the artist of Cover the Dead with Lime. Alan Dunford's coming on February 1st. That's the Pocus Hocus creator. Ari Grass, who was part of the anthology series Scott Snyder Presents Tales from the Cloakroom, which if you didn't pick this up, I don't know if there's a way to pick it up now, if they have it for sale somewhere, but it is an incredible anthology series about one thing that links it all is cloaks or coats or jackets or something.
Whatever your terminology for those pieces of outerwear is.
Yes, there are some very beautiful stories in there. Some that made me cry a little bit about death and dogs and not what I thought was going to happen in that story. So he's going to be on the channel to talk about a new Kickstarter he's doing. And then Anas Abdullah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but that's the writer of Etheris from First Point Press. I will learn to say your name before that interview on February 9th. And then all the way into March, Daniel Calban, creator of American Dream, coming from Band of Bards, will be on to talk about that book. That is
Very
everything that's
good.
lined up so far this year. Also,
So
worked
far.
on an interview, a long form interview, live interview with Sweeney Boo, working on making Twitter actually send a group message because trying to set up something with Liana Kangas and Sarah Gailey to talk about Know Your Station. And I'm sure I have probably half a dozen other things that are not in my brain right now.
Yeah.
But a crowded interview schedule for the first part of the year. We did 33 interviews last year. I think we are going to break that this year in probably the first
This is
third of the
fine.
year. First third of the year.
This is fun.
Another thing that I haven't mentioned. Let me change the view here. Let's lose this and the overlay. There we go. Hi, it's us again.
We did it.
Miracle Kingdom. Yes, congrats to all of the award nominees. Congrats to all of the awesome indie
Anybody who made anything this year.
Right. Even those not nominated, there were so many that we also wanted to put on the list that just like
we culled people. We had I think Jeremy had like 20 some odd.
My original list for top indie comics was double what it is now. And we had to talk about them and like kind of bring it down. And
we had more categories too, but we were like, we can't do as much as we would love to. This is obscene.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours or almost 2 hours right now. And so if we had more categories, we'd be here for like 3 or 4 hours just chatting. But the last thing I want to mention is if you haven't seen it already over on Instagram, this is up for your other one, the other part of the. That's okay. Go to the either You Promised Me Comics page or the Sparks Comics, or
you tagged me in it, but it's not pinned on mine.
It's not pinned on yours, but it's pinned on You Promised Me Comics and Sparks Comics. We are doing this as a 1,500 subscriber giveaway. There's a little bit of extra rules. Follow us on Instagram, etc. I will try to post a video over here, just a specific video to talk about rules for how to enter. But all of those rules are pinned on Instagram. But this will be the giveaway, and then there's a Department of Truth variant, I believe, was your prize you were throwing in with it. So that is. I feel like here's
a picture of it.
Yeah. So it's essentially follow us.
Spot color.
Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to us on here. Post in your story that you're subscribed to us and tag us. And then there's bonus entries, other ways you can subscribe or you can follow and get entered. But this Dan Quintana remarked Something Is Killing the Children variant is the gift to you guys for supporting us. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, hit that button.
Click all the buttons, do all the things, add all the pages.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow for more content.
I feel that. Yes. I'm going to need a bigger shelf.
The amount of short boxes I had to buy this year.
I have 6 bookshelves in here, and they're almost all full. And then I have boxes on boxes on boxes everywhere. So I'm about to do like a purge coming up. I may have to start selling in multiple places to help.
Bang on everyone's door.
Yeah, just start my own comic shop at this point. You just come on into my office and just buy comics. But yeah, wake the kids, phone the neighbors, tell them to subscribe. When we hit 1,500 on YouTube, we will be doing the giveaway. Yep. So I will post a separate video talking about all that very soon, just so you guys know how to enter, where to enter. And I've got a running list still from the original post. It's in a notes thing of everyone who has done all the pieces. Make sure your profile is not a giveaway profile. Make sure your profile is not a private profile that we can't see when you tag us in the giveaway. all those things. But yeah, that's it.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Moral of the story today: go vote.
Go vote. Let your voice be known about indie comics. Let your voice be known about everything. Go vote in your elections, whenever those
Go
are.
vote everywhere and anything and whatever
Anytime
you
you
can do.
have an option to vote, vote.
Do it.
Wake the kids.
Especially
phone the neighbors.
in our competition.
Yes. But we'll be back live for February 5th to talk about the winners.
Who
But we'll
wins?
also be back on Wednesday, on Thursday, on the next Wednesday, on the next
All the
Thursday
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
for a while. Sometimes it'll be both of us. Sometimes it'll just be me because I like to book extra things and Caroline can't
He
always
also
make it.
reads well more than I do. I get a little burnt out at work sometimes.
Yeah, it's fair.
Also, the weather, honestly, doesn't cooperate here, like, ever.
You've made 2 interviews in a row with Travis, so I think that's the record
I think it's your turn to miss one.
Well, then the interview won't happen because I run the software.
I know, because you have all of the developments and I just show up.
It happens. But thank you guys who've been hanging out. I know some people have probably been in and out. It's a Sunday. You got life going on. But thank you if you catch us on the replay. Really appreciate it. And
have a good rest of your Sunday. And if you're watching this at any other point, have a great day, y'all.
Let me get the ending thing here. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.